India is $4.1 trillion economy. That there is not a single country in the world which became a developed economy without high percentage of their GDP coming from exports.
But manufacturing is only rely on the chip production.
But when it comes to high tech, the post-secondary education, I think, has played a big role.
Our standard and our quality is not the point. There is nothing worry about that.
I really attract the Indian company to enter European Union through Poland.
We do a turnover of $70 billion with Russia. The problem here is the percentage of exports from India to Russia is very minuscule in this. It's only $5 to $6 billion.
We might be being laid back, but that means like being a dreamer. When you are laying back, you are dreaming. When you are dreaming, you are creating. When you are creating, you are innovating.
Canada, I think, by default, leans towards clean tech.
I think India can make more highly speed than China, I believe.
The relationship between businesses and the relationship between people have always been strong.
I now invite our speakers to share their insights and set the tone for an engaging and thought-provoking discussion. To begin with, Mr. Marcin Jabłoński, Vice President, Chamber of Commerce of Exporter and Importers from Poland. Next, may I invite Mr. Ritesh Darji, Business Development Manager, Girder-Slab International, Australia. Welcome, sir. May I invite Mr. Shankho Gupta, Director, Customer Relations, SBER Bank. Welcome, sir. May I invite Ms. Sobhana Jaya-Madhavan, President, British Columbia India Business Network, Canada. Welcome, ma'am. May I invite Jin Ah Kim, MD of Unicorn Incubator from Korea. Moderator for the afternoon, Dr. Jagat Shah, founder of Global Networks Institute. Please come, sir. With this, we begin this session on technical session on India's role in global value chains from local productions to global exports. I hand over the proceedings to Dr. Jagat Shah.
Good afternoon. I know lunch is not allowing you to speak. Yes. So friends, what we are going to do now is we have an extremely esteemed panel here. I'll introduce them. We have Mr. Marcin, who is from Poland, and he is the Vice President of Importers and Exporters Chamber of Commerce of Poland. So he is a person who can connect you to businesses in Poland for 5 things: exports from India, imports from Poland, joint ventures, technology transfer, and investment. And he will speak more about the strength of Poland in terms of technology and businesses. And we have Ritesh Darji from Girder-Slab International in Australia. He's been in Australia for 20 years in Melbourne, and he has several businesses. One of them is financing, and another one is in the construction sector. And he's also, for many of you, maybe those of you who are in food business, very interesting, he's launching a portal in Australia which will sell Indian food in the model of Amazon all over Australia. So it is a huge opportunity for those companies who are in food sector to work with him. And the idea is that after today's this 1.5 hour of interaction, I'll encourage all of you to meet them and exchange your cards and then carry on the discussion forward. Because the purpose of this panel discussion should not be only limited to knowledge sharing. It should actually lead to some business, right? And we also have Jin Ah from, she calls herself Mahima. Her name is Mahima for India. And she's very proud about that. She says, don't say Jin Ah, say Mahima Jin Ah Kim. Right, so and she is the founder of Unicorn Incubator, which is a startup ecosystem. She's doing amazing work in India with so many states. She has got partnerships and MOUs with many states, And I will encourage all the startups here and even small, medium enterprises to engage with her for business opportunities in Korea. In fact, she is leading a 10 company AI-based companies delegation from Korea to Delhi on 21st of this month, November. So anyone who is interested, you can contact her. She will invite you to the event. You will be able to meet one-to-one the Korean companies. Then we have with us Mr. Shankho Gupta, Director of SBER Bank, Russia. And, for generations, we know through our Bollywood also how deeply we are connected to Russia. And it has always been our friend, always in times of any difficulty India had. And India-Russia trade is doing very well. And he will speak about the role of the bank and how you can work with the bank, because there are a lot of payment challenges, we all know, in terms of doing business with Russia, but he will simplify it. And at the end of today's panel discussion, you will be confident that it is easy to do business with Russia because of SBER Bank. And we have then with us Sobhana, and she is, I think, 30 years or maybe more in Canada, in Vancouver. And she was in the Simon Fraser University for many years. And she is the co-president of British Columbia India Business Chamber, which is the most active business chamber from British Columbia in relation to India. And they do a lot of activities connecting Indian and British Columbia businesses. And I have been fortunate to have been hosted by that chamber on one of my mentor on road tour and she's now dividing her time between Canada and India. She's going to be in India for some time now. She's based in Kerala, and you should all take advantage. She has some very good projects which she is working. So that's our very rich panel from many, many countries. Before I start asking them some questions, I want to just open up your mind to the possibilities of global trade. Today, the entire world economy is $112 trillion. And out of that, US economy is 30 trillion. The second largest economy in the world is China, 19 trillion. Third is Germany, and then Japan, and then India. India is $4.1 trillion economy. Whenever I address businesses, I ask them a very simple economics and mathematics common sense question. Will you grow faster in a $4 trillion Indian economy or in a $108 trillion economy which is outside India? That economy which is outside India, we call as exports. And our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has given a slogan that India should become a developed country by 2047. We have done the research in our school, and we have found that there is not a single country in the world which became a developed economy without high percentage of their GDP coming from exports. We all know, those of us who are in business, that how competitive Indian market has become. And therefore, to do business within India, we are cutting prices of each other, profits are low, we are giving long credit terms. And that is why global markets is something we should look at, and that is the subject today, integrating the local production of India with the global markets through the global value chains. And this in particular became very important after the pandemic. So in the pandemic, entire world's supply chain got disturbed, we all know. And that is the time today Mr. Sunil Diodar was talking about it, that how India developed a vaccine and gave it for free to 100 countries. And that is the kind of a knowledge domain in which India is sitting today. And another example of that is the IT industry. How the IT industry has taken India to the global markets. To me, I feel IT sector in India has cracked the model of international business. Manufacturing companies in India still need to crack the model of international business. And what are the best practices? So today, this is what we are going to learn from this esteemed panel, who have years and years of experience in business. And we will all not only gain their perspective and knowledge, but again, I will encourage you to meet them one-to-one and take the discussion forward. So some business happens. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I will ask a question and I will ask all of you to speak 5 minutes on that, right? And then I have 4-5 questions, so we will have more rounds. So, Marcin, I start with you. According to you, what opportunities and challenges do you see in integrating India more deeply into global production networks with the point of view of Poland and as well as Europe?
And thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. It's a great pleasure to be here. First of all, I really appreciate those countries who try to diversify their relationships. I think that today, when you look at the geopolitical situation, we see how, for example, one country, for example, China, can control the global economy by restricting access to, for example, the critical minerals. It looks that the diversity always was good. So for some reason, some people try to limit it and to exclude other directions. So when you look at the Poland, in 1989, our GDP were triple lower than Ukraine. Right now, this year, the Polish economy exceed 1 trillion, and for 30 years, we achieved the G20 club, and including Poland as a developed country. What is the secret of success? The secret of success was being inside the European Union, working hard, and that I mentioned that in Goa I mentioned that Polish is like Japanese. We are very precise, very sharp. We love quality, and this is the basic. If you don't work hard, and there is no outcomes. So my advice for India, because I really was astonished by the presentation in the defense panel. It was about keeping the IPs inside the country. Intellectual property, this is what we have today. This is the crucial aspect, not the manufacturing. Because the manufacturing will change, the shape of the map of the manufacturing can be changed in the future. Look at Poland. Poland is robust thanks to manufacturing. We deliver our products to Germany, to Italy, to the French. If you look at the made in Germany products, 80% of their products were manufactured in Poland and Czech Republic. Oh. That's the secret. So it means that manufacturing is only rely on the cheap production, the costs, labor costs, but the critical is what was mentioned during the panel, to keep the IPs, create IPs and keep the IPs inside the country. The economy is changing completely. We don't know how the artificial intelligence or silicon intelligence, the new term, how impact the economy. So from my point of view, this is our challenges, and I really attract the Indian company to enter European Union through Poland. We are acquired by the Chinese. The Chinese put a lot of efforts to get Europe through Poland, because the whole Poland is a special economic zone. Yeah. We don't special economic zone. We have the Polish economic zone. It means that every investor, every company can choose the location, being granted from the Polish government by some taxes exemptions, also having the access to European Union funds. This is also very attractive for the foreign investors. Why? Because, for example, if you look at the European Union, we have the project Global Gateway, which allows European Union companies to get finance to finance the investment outside the European Union. For example, for the whole Africa is allocated 153 billion euro, which is available only for European Union companies. So this is the chance to leverage the investment and to also be connected to European Union single market. Because if you enter the Poland, you have access the same rules to the all markets. So this is the chance. I think what is the biggest problem? I think this is the culture boundaries. This is the main concern, and I found that around 90% of the project crashes in terms of the investment, not trade, collapses due to the misunderstanding. So I think that really, what I really think today, when I discuss to open some bridge for the Indian companies in Poland to help them to get access, because me personally, I will be frank, not delicate, I really appreciate the Indian skills and the mentality. I really prefer to work with, for example, Indians than, for example, Chinese. Sorry, China. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. So, what I get from you, you spoke about IPR. And friends, let me tell something very interesting. There was a time when India was called Sone ki Chidiya, a golden bird. And that was the time when it was a knowledge economy. We were exporting herbs and spices, not for the taste. We were exporting it for the reason we knew that which herb can cure what ailment in human body. That knowledge we had. And today Sunil was talking about a cloth passing through a ring. There was no electricity that time. There was no engines. We were making handlooms. And the cloth was made on handloom. We had the knowledge to make the handloom. We had the knowledge to make that thin a cloth which will pass through the ring. Unfortunately, those days there was no IPR regime. Right? So otherwise we would have patented these. Right? But very rightly you have observed, Marcin, that IPR is something and design which India should move into. And then, the scale of our growth is going to be amazing. Thank you very much. Ritesh,
Yes, sir.
same thing. I would like to ask you that you have been in Australia for 20 years.
20%.
What is it you see? And you keep coming to India. You are deeply involved with a lot of businesses from India, connecting to Australian businesses. You run many businesses in Australia. That according to you, what are the best practices perhaps of Australia, or what is it about India that can be then connected to, like the theme today is local production and global market. So from Australian perspective, one particularly thing I would like you to talk about is India and Australia signed a free trade agreement.
Correct.
But when I look at data, I do not see the increase in trade as much as it should have been, in spite of almost 94% of goods both ways being duty free.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So first of all, namaskara, friends. And thank you, sir. Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this. So just like what Jagat sir made a very valid point, that despite having a free trade agreement between Australia and India, why the numbers are not reflective of that trade, and everybody's taking advantage of that, this free trade alliance between both the countries. But taking a step back, my view, and this is Jagat sir's first question, what this global manufacturing look like? I guess the global manufacturing to me, it is about the smart collaboration. It is no longer basically just being in that cave and doing what you know and selling who you know, right? It is basically coming out of that cave and thinking broader perspective and collaborating skills to your passion or your passion to their skills, right? Vice versa. And that will actually enhance your business. Not only that, but that will basically reflect in your numbers if you are especially in any of those sectors. I've been coming to India for last probably decade, at least more than 5-6 times a year, sir. And I think what I've really sort of understood here by coming here, that we have in India we have 1.5 billion people close to play with. It opens up a massive market, but at the same time, that market, using that knowledge, how we can apply and send our expertise in different part of the world, whether it is basically somebody having a small home business who is basically very good at making certain things, but having that small business, how can they send those products to a country like Australia or country like Canada, where they are actually in a very good demand. They don't need to have too many tiered distributors. Another part. I mean, I'm not against having distributors, because it's an amazing thing, but they don't need to have too many. The reach to everyone is so powerful today that you can very easily connect to one another. Having right passion, right mindset in your business will definitely grow, and you can grow that business together in much better way. I mean, that's just basically my view.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ritesh, is one of the reasons for the trade not picking so much after FTA, is it the laid-back nature of Australians?
Look, definitely, us Australians are we are known for being super laid back, but at the same time, we are good at innovations. Right. And this is what, we should understand that, think about Australia, it's 24 million. The size of the country is almost 2.5 or 2.8 times more than India, or probably a bit more. But the population, we only have 24 million people, which is almost population of UP, I guess.
No, Bengaluru.
Bengaluru. Well, there you go then. See, right. So, what geographically, what it tells you, that a lot of opportunities. Numbers wise, what does it tell you? That we are very low on numbers of population. That means our labor will be very high or very expensive. We might be being laid back, but that means being a dreamers. When you are laying back, you are dreaming. And when you are dreaming, you are creating. When you are creating, you are innovating, right? So that's what we are good at as an Australian. So yeah, look, I mean, this is where innovation and speed can combine together, and when we combine together, we can do a lot of business together.
Yeah, wonderful. Very well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mahima. What I have always observed about South Korea is the technology edge, the leadership in technology in the whole world, and many a times I feel that is it an outcome of the startup ecosystem which is there, because it has to start from some root. So can you share your experiences of the startup ecosystem in South Korea? And you're also very deeply connected to the startup ecosystem in India. So what do you see the gap between the two, and what are the best practices India can adopt? And what are have you seen the best practices of India startup ecosystem which can go to Korea? Because we must keep this in mind. Yesterday it was being spoken about that in 2014 we hardly had 450 startups, and today we have almost 150,000 startups registered. Otherwise there are so many. So the startup revolution in India has really grown and matured, but I would like to know your views from the Korean perspective.
Yes. One thing is very similar between Korean startup ecosystem and India's startup ecosystem. Is that point driven by government side. So growing speed is very fast. But the opposite way is diversity cannot bring like that way by government side push to high startup scene is cannot expect from the diversity even about the investment in there. But I think the keyword in startup scene in here and Korea are same. We are more focusing and expecting from the startup scene, building more, creating deep technology like artificial intelligence and machine learning. And then many of Korean startup company, their target market is manufacturing industry because Korea is very well-known country as a IT and manufacturer as well. And many of good Korean IT companies already prove a concept done with the Korean manufacturer companies. But unfortunately, our manufacturing industry is already saturated. We could see the well because Kia, Hyundai, Lotte, many of Korean big companies already IPO in Indian market because our Korean market is already saturated. So which means this is the right reason why Korean manufacturer industry have to look what's more and get more understanding and try to collaborate between each other based on the tech or not. And then I think many of the people in here I got some question from the owner of a manufacturer company in here, want to find a distributor in Korea. But the challenge about the Indian company is many of the Korean manufacturer company, our quality standard is very high. I have one example, my advisor, he is very known consultant for the quality control for manufacturer industry for the Samsung Electronic and Hyundai Kia. And he shared one experience when he visited India for some consulting program for the staff in Korean manufacturer company based on here as a factory. And they tried to teach the staff what is the standard for the cleanliness in the space in manufacturer after finishing the whole job. But it's very difficult to make an understanding as an Indian staff. The reason is one Indian staff shared his thought with my advisor. I don't understand. This factory is more cleaner than my house. How I can more clean this place? So my advisor providing some training course, bringing them to the Korea and showing every place in the manufacturer. And after that, they get understanding about that. And one concerning point as a Korean manufacturer company, they really are eager to want to do something with the Indian manufacturer company. Sometimes they are looking for a partner as an Indian manufacturer company, reducing their manufacturing cost. But they worry about the quality and how to manage well. So as an Indian manufacturing company, want to do something with the Korean companies, include the startup company, I think we have to prove our standard and our quality is not the point. There is nothing worry about that. And then Korea is our average age is over 47. It's very difficult to find a good staff for a manufacturing industry and IT sector as well. But in India, it's average age around 25, 27, I heard. Even many of young Indian people need a job for their living. So I think it's a good point. We can collaborate each other and matchmaking well each other. With Indian companies can prove their quality and can increasing their quality for the targeting standard, global standard. Then I think there are many things that happen between Korea and India. But before that, I think you should invite more Korean manufacturing companies to adapt their know-how and their experience. I think there are many things that we can learn as a Chinese because long time ago, China also not like this, even there is no manufacturer brand like this time. And then at that moment, there is a Korean factories already only, and then they can learn from the average Korean big manufacturer companies how to manage, how to build, how to market, create by their own companies. Now, I think I could see the many of Chinese brand and IT technology is much better than Korea.
Correct.
So also I think India can make more highly speed than China, I believe.
Okay, wonderful. Yes. In fact, I think based on my experience with Korean companies, I think Korea as a country is one of the most active. There are organizations like Kotra. They are so active. I think every month there is a delegations coming from Korea to India. So I will encourage all of you to maybe follow Kotra website and see what delegations come and take advantage of it. In fact, Mahima is bringing a delegation of 10 companies, all AI companies, to Delhi, as I mentioned. So Shankho, coming to you. So according to you, please kindly first share about your bank, SBER Bank, and what role, because I run a school and a lot of my students always tell me, my students are entrepreneurs, they always tell me we can't understand how to do financial transaction with Russia. So first of all, how that piece is settled, and second part is what opportunities exist in joint production of machinery, defense and energy equipment between Russian and Indian companies.
So I would first of all like to thank Mr. Jagat Shah for inviting us on the panel. It's not easy to be a host and have so many things in your mind with data and talk to every single person who is from a different industry. So I would like to thank you for that, and giving us this opportunity to talk to a forum is also something very great. So I think we should have a round of applause for Dr. Jagat Shah first.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, coming back to the bank. Okay, SBER Bank is a bank with a history of more than 180 years in Russia. It's the largest bank of Russia. I will not able to talk on the published revenues because that is not allowed. But still, I can give you a ballpark figure. The bank is around $17.7 billion. It's a huge, coverage, if you ask me, in this particular market. In India, it has been for the last 15 years. We had our first branch in Delhi in 2010. And in the last 2 years, we have started our operations in Mumbai. Bangalore being the hub of IT, we have a huge IT hub in Whitefield. With more than 250, 300. I'm sure, the people who are from the IT companies, 250, 300, it's a very small number of people for them. But to generate a banking CBS and an AI, I think that is more than enough to go ahead and start a proper establishment. So bank has been one of the most trusted channel partners between both the governments, and as sir correctly mentioned, a lot of entrepreneurs in India are a little bit scared to do business with Russia. So yesterday I met a very large corporate and he was saying, either if I do a transaction with Russia, I'm risking the entire $200 billion that is there in public. So how do I go about it, or how to make things, in a much generic manner? So my first question to all those entrepreneurs are, when the concept of PAN card came to India, I think I was in first year or second year of college that time in Delhi University. So people were not ready, right? We didn't know. Even today, on a lighter note, we don't know what taxes we file. But having said that, when PAN card came, it was a revolution. Aadhaar came, it was a revolution. So there's a new revolution which has come, which is called the SRV account, which is Special Rupee Vostro account. What happens in an import and export kind of a transaction, you normally use the SWIFT mechanism, right? SWIFT is again, which is completely dominated by, our friends there in US, and the banking fraternity typically follows the SWIFT codes to do different kinds of transaction where the base currency is US dollars. In SRVA, what happens, you can continue your payments with INR. You can receive money in INR. You can also send money in INR. Don't worry about what conversions are happening in the country of origin from where the money is going to come in or from where the money is going out. So SRVA is a product which is typically followed by banks like SBER Bank, and it's a beautiful mechanism to enable all of us to do the right set of imports and exports for countries which are under OFAC, or if you say a country like Russia. So I was just reading and I was just referring to Sir's message. In $112 trillion, $4 trillion is us and $7.5 trillion is Russia. And if you see today, the maximum number of bilateral trade in Russia happens from India and China. So there's a huge market and it's a huge opportunity which is there. So nothing to be worried about because both the governments support each other for different kinds of trade. I'm not only talking about oil or energy or gas. In every segment, the government has their footprints, and we have a beautiful synergy between both the countries, and the exporters and importers of both the countries can come together, join hands and do transactions. Now, whenever we go to a bank, whether even it's an Indian bank or any other bank where we have our own savings account, first of all, the thing that comes into our mind is safety. How safe it is. So I'm putting so much of money in my savings account, my salary is coming, or maybe I'm accumulating, if I'm a director of a company, I'm accumulating a lot of income in it. So how safe the bank is. So the same question arises when you do a transaction with Russia as well, correct? Your product can be imported, can be exported to a direct channel, to direct ports between India and Russia. Payments can go directly from SBER India to SBER Russia. Why SBER Bank? Not because I work there, because there are only 2 licensed banks in India who can actually do transactions with Russia, because other banks may not, go ahead with certain sort of OFAC exposures. And the main thing today, why we get scared, is how can we regularize our transactions in the RBI portal? So people who are into imports and exports will understand this model of EDPMS and IDPMS very clearly. If you do an export, you have to regularize the transaction. If you do an import, again, the same thing has to be done. So the bank is a scheduled bank. It's a full-fledged AD1 licensed bank by RBI, and it is capable to handle any sort of transactions with Russia through the SRVA accounts. So how you receive an RTGS or an NEFT or an IMPs, I'm talking a little bit technical, but obviously the MSMEs and the SMEs who are here, they will understand this language because it's their day-to-day transactional piece. There's a mode called as SFMS, which is launched by RBI, correct? The same mode is utilized to take in money. We don't follow the concept of SWIFT because it is not allowed. But excuse me. But in a bilateral trade where only 2 currencies are involved, which is INR and ruble, I think this is the best way to do it. We open a special current account for people who also have a limits of more than 5 crores in their existing bank. So opening of an account is possible, and you can do a transaction where, SBER India means the currency which is INR today. So everything can be done in INR. INR is not exposed to OFAC. Means the exposure of INR is towards a very due diligence kind of currency, if you ask me. Like how there is a OFAC questionability on ruble, it is not there on INR. A lot of people also come to us say that my billing is in dollars, how to take it ahead. So if your billing is in dollars, if you're invoicing in dollars, it's very convenient for you to get that invoicing priced in INR. There are specific experts who can help you in doing that within the bank. And as I said, you don't have to worry if you already have a limit with your existing bank. The rule of not having a current account where your exposure is more than 5 crores doesn't hold true for SRVA special current account. You can open an account and it works as a collection account. So your money comes in and on the same day, the money goes back as an RTGS to your existing working capital or collection route, wherever it is. Also, as I mentioned that the bank is very well equipped in regularizing your transaction. I meant moment an export or an import transaction is, the fate of the transaction can only be analyzed when you see the IceGate portal that, okay, these are my shipping bills, this has got regularized. So that is very much possible to do in SBER Bank if you have an exposure to Russia. So there's nothing to be worried, nothing to be scared. Okay, time has changed, so they have graduated from Mera Naam Joker to disco dancer to different types of oil deals and gas deals. And if my maths is correct, we do a turnover of $70 billion with Russia. The problem here is, as sir was mentioning, the percentage of exports from India to Russia is very minuscule in this. It's only $5 to $6 billion. That 70 mark has to go to 100. Now to take that to 100, the only way is if we start doing new businesses. And now I'm going to come to the second part of your question. So SBER Bank has gone one step ahead. And what they have done is they have launched a team of industry specialists who are not bankers, and that is called as a business development team. So what we do, we find out buyers for you in Russia. So you have a product, like how many of you have been to Chickpet? All of you, right? Because we all belong to the MSME and SME community, and Bangalore is very close to my heart. My entire banking career has been here. So if you go to Chickpet, you will see different kinds of businesses which gets imported from China, and then people start trading, whether it is lights. And I saw a beautiful product where a small towel, you put water in the towel, that means the napkin becomes a towel. Okay, so I'm just talking from a product of that nature, from a safety pin to a defense mechanism product, maybe a drone. We can find out buyers for you if there's an availability in that particular market. So the bank will not get into signing of commercials, and obviously we will not decide the pricing. The pricing will be with the buyer and the seller. But the joint venture or different kinds of joint activities in terms of executing this trade can be facilitated by the bank.
Wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's a very new initiative. I don't think so anybody is doing it.
So tell me if I'm wrong. So you mean to say that all the companies here, if they want to find out some kind of a importer or a distributor or a joint venture partner in Russia, you will help for that.
Of course.
But do they have to have a bank account with you?
First, let the deal get happen. If the deal gets signed, obviously, then the collection and payments have to happen from the bank.
Okay.
That's the whole idea.
Right.
But it's not. See, like, as I said, a lot of times we don't open an account and do a transaction. There's a mechanism called as forwarding.
Right. Okay. One more question. So suppose I want to bank with State Bank of India, and the way I open account there is exactly the same way I open with you, or there are some other regulations?
So in current account, as I mentioned, the KYC documents are very much similar. The only thing that changes here is if you already have a limit with SBI of say 5 crores and above, you need to open a special current account with us. And that special current account either can be opened with a Star House Exporter licensing certificate, or there are some internal approvals which RBI has allowed us to do. So the industries that you are mentioning, sir, they already have a joint venture. There are a lot of joint ventures which we are doing, and typically these deals are executed between both the governments. Means obviously the manufacturer or the end user will be a commercial client, but the deal execution happens between both the governments. So the invoicing and payments starts right up from there.
Okay,
and
thank you. So I think we have crossed the
yes.
limit.
So just wanted to sum it up a bit. So that's what SBER Bank does,
Right.
and that's how we have been capturing market in India.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Good. So I'll now come to Sobhana. So Sobhana, friends, just to let you know, I was the Trade Commissioner of Manitoba, which is a state in Canada, for 9 years in India. So I understand the strength of Canada and, of course, India, right? So, Sobhana, my question to you is that, as I understand with my exposure in Canada, and of course you would know, is that how can Indian manufacturing companies integrate with Canada's clean tech and advanced material ecosystem? Because these two, clean tech and advanced material ecosystem in Canada, is cutting edge. It's very, very good. And just, I don't know, you can Google or chat GPT. To my understanding, I think the purest air in the world is in Canada, right?
Some parts of Canada.
Yeah, please. So clean tech.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like everyone else on this panel, I'm deeply grateful to you, Jagatji, for your leadership and for pulling us all together here today and bringing such a diverse group of people to listen to what we have to say. So I immigrated to Canada in 95. So Canada has been home for a very long time. And like all countries, it has evolved over time. And in terms of business and business practices, I would say that it's highly evolved and highly sophisticated. And there are many reasons for it: social, cultural, political, historical. But having lived in Canada for 30 years and having worked with the government of British Columbia for 20 years, and then with Simon Fraser University, when I look back now, there are a couple of things that stand out for me that I want to set a context before I specifically answer your question. There's some major influences when it comes to Canada. Number one is Canadians, just as we were teasing Australians about being wonderful people and laid back, Canadians have always taken pride in protecting nature and natural resources. And perhaps one of the big influences has been the First Nations peoples. So here in India, we call Adivasis, and in Canada, they're called the First Nations, Aboriginal peoples, First Nation peoples. Through all the difficult historical times they went through, thanks to colonization, we are now at a point where Canada has officially acknowledged, apologized, and is now willing to learn from First Nation practices. So if you take British Columbia, the population of the First Nations communities might be less than, say, 10-15%. But the land that they own is very small. But the land that they own is so pristine. I had the pleasure of going and living in a remote island in British Columbia, northern British Columbia, called Haida Gwaii. Used to be called, during the colonial times, Queen Charlotte Islands. If you look on the map, it's a dot, a bindi on the Pacific Ocean. 5,000 people, half Haida people. And when I was living and working there, they had put a claim against Canadian government, and they had put a claim on not only the land and water, but also the skies above them. And this was not to monetize it, the exact opposite. It was to protect it.
Correct.
And when I spent the 2 years there, the biggest learning I've had, which has influenced me tremendously, and I'm very proud to say BC India Business Network, we believe in some of those values, is that in the indigenous community, Haida Gwaii, any big decision that is being made, they ask the question, how will it be good for the next 7 generations? So when you go to Haida Gwaii, Jagatji talked about clean air. You haven't seen anything till you go to Haida Gwaii.
Right.
Like, I have never breathed air like that. So I think Canada, which is a very multicultural country, it's a mosaic, it's not a melting pot. So whether it comes to businesses, business practices, ideologies, geopolitics, it is influenced by a lot of things. And I think because we are a large land base with a small population, slightly larger than Australia, but we are in the 40 to 50 million range there, an aging population where more than 50% of the people are over the age of 55, 60. We have a younger generation that does not want to have children or, has a declining birth rate. And we did depend on immigration heavily. But now, because of everything happening around the world, there is a slight tension with regards to high levels of immigration, and you're going to see probably a pause on that. So with regards to materials and with regards to clean energy and those kind of, new sectors and new emerging, Canada, I think by default, leans towards clean tech because we don't have a lot of people in Canada. And as I mentioned, we have an aging population. We only have a few things that over time can help keep the GDP high. And so protecting nature, I think, is something that everyone agrees is a good idea. So even when you go to industrial zones, you will find it to be extremely clean, extremely well organized, and extremely high levels of fine and stringent measures for polluting the environment. If you are driving on the roads of Vancouver and you see a truck taking gravel and it's got black smoke coming, people get very upset because they see it as polluting the environment. With regards to materials, one of the interesting things I've learned is that the majority of Canadian children don't do university. A very small percentage of Canadian youth actually go to university. And there's many reasons for that. A truck driver makes more than a teacher. A carpenter or a plumber might make more than I did when I used to be once upon a time a social worker. So I think the trades are heavily encouraged in high school and we need tradespeople. But when it comes to high tech, the post-secondary education, I think, has played a big role because Canada is very sophisticated in research and also is very academically oriented. It may not have the best track record for lab to market or for monetizing the IP, but from an intellectual sort of a point of view, they love research and they love to figure things out. So they're very good partners to have. And right now, an example I'd like to give is when I was at Simon Fraser University, we had an MOU with Indian Oil and long-standing, and we used to get postdoc students who used to come and work in the Simon Fraser University labs, and the research they did was useful for their PhD, but useful to Indian Oil and good for the university and for Canada too. So I think the two things I want to basically mention is that when somebody wants to do business with Canada, they have to be prepared for things to move quite slowly. And the reason is because there is a deep desire to do things properly and to not take shortcuts. So businesses that come in there quickly, try to scale up quickly, try to do things quickly and compromise on quality, will find it hard to come back again and get other partners. The second thing is that they would rather take many years to develop something fantastic than take a quick shortcut and develop something tomorrow and make some money with it. So I think it's very important to understand the Canadian psyche when it comes to that. Now, the consumer is a very interesting one, and I'm going to stop after this point. The consumer, when I talk about the general Canadian consumer, is more than happy to pay more for something that is made out of great ingredients and that is done in a very high quality way. So things that are not high quality, things that are cheap, don't really do very well in the Canadian market. So in terms of brand, I think one needs to pay good attention to it. And then you need to decide who do you want to partner with, because if you take your brand very seriously, then you will find a good Canadian partner. If you don't, then maybe Canada may not be the market, or maybe there are certain sectors where it might be more useful. But one of the things I want to say is, despite all the geopolitical, challenges we've had, the relationship between businesses and the relationship between people have always been strong. And now we are very excited about what the future brings to Canada. Thank
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, friends, Sobhana comes from an academic background. Let me tell you one big difference I see between Canada and India in terms of business ecosystem is called triple helix of competitiveness. The triple helix of competitiveness is the connect between government, academia, and industry. The connect between academia and industry in Canada is very strong. And that is one of the reasons perhaps for the kind of innovation and the long-term thinking and the kind of partnership which happens between industry and academia. I think we need to strengthen that more in India, in our ecosystem. Each of us, whatever businesses we have to ask this question to ourselves, that in our business, how are we engaging with the academic institutions in wherever you have your company, right? Because that is the long-term, innovation or long-term approach which will come. So thank you very much for bringing that out. So I'll come back, Marcin, I'll come back to you. And I would like to ask you, so friends, you will all also agree that today most of us who run industries, we are feeling that we are not getting skilled manpower. There is a shortage of skilled manpower, right? So if we are talking of integrating India's local production to global value chains, global markets, then skill development will have to be an integral part of our business model. So Marcin, my question to you is, from your experiences in Poland, what kind of skill development or vocational programs can strengthen India's manufacturing workforce for global demands, particularly in relation to ESG, green tech and innovation? Because if I'm not wrong, in Europe from next year, without ESG certification, none of the products will be allowed to be imported.
Yeah,
so the skill development part.
That's true. First of all, it's very difficult to compare the Poland and India, but we have only 30 years of development. We did a lot thanks to the people. In the latest report, the people were the most precious assets of Polish and Poland. It means that we put a lot of efforts. In Poland, around 55% people study universities. If you look at the founders of the OpenAI, ChatGPT, out of the 13, 6 of them were Polish. This year, the Polish student won all competitions in AI, beating the Chinese, of course. Good. And then, but that means that the training is what we need. I work for previous 15 years in Africa, and I see a slightly correlation between Africa and India. Sometimes, I think that without educated and skilled workforce, it's unable to push the economy fast forward. What it was meant that the high standards. Do you know what is the success of Poland? Because we were the neighbors. We had the Germany, we have the France, which first they seen the Poland closed in the culture. So we are the same framework. So they invest a lot using the European funds to help Polish achieve the highest standards. And it helped us to, in some fields, overcome the ability to for production, ability of Germans. Look at the Germans right now. They face the serious economical problem. The same France, the same Spain. The European zone was, like a bear during the winter. They deep sleep. But the important is first to keep the middle education, the technical education, so to keep as much technicians as possible. Right now in Poland is similar. It's easier to find the IT developer than plumber.
Right.
So it's this ordinary common jobs are very important to keep the infrastructure, to keep the development. Second, react to have a flexible system which adjusts to the very quick big changes in the market. When we start the university, in the technical university, on the third year, the half of your knowledge is outdated. Even now, even faster. So this is the demand. So the country should be agile. It's the worst is the system which you like in chess. That you try to achieve some position, but you should react precisely to the changing environment, because you can be surprised by the move of your opponent. So it's necessary to have the very precise plan. And what I see in the plan of 100% of the IP properties rights in the defense sector is also it's sneaky because it's easy to close the country for foreign cooperation. And I think it's very important to keep the balance between the internal development and internationalization. So, because what is the success of USA? The success of USA is to acquisition of the foreign talents. This is the success story. So, American, instead of the teaching American-born people, they prefer to acquire. Look at the chess team of the American. It's Wesley So from Philippines. And so Fabio Caruana from Italy, Hikari Nakamura from Japan, Indian chess team. Okay, Gukesh. So this is I think the thread to keep the right balance between the being focused on internal development and external, and to really react. So it's very easy to produce some specialists. Then we have the problem right now in Poland. What to do with those? Now, when you look at the Poland focus on the IT development and the BPO projects, and now in AI, thousands of people loses jobs.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very well said. So same thing, Ritesh, from Australian perspective in 2 minutes. We are now short. We have to close in 2 minutes. Can you share what are your experiences of skill development, which you think can be, comparing to in India from the industry point of view, manufacturing?
100%. Look, again, as far as skills are concerned, I would probably pause a bit and say, go back, rewind and go back to what Shobha said, that we need to adapt and mirror the mindset of the country. That's the first skill that we need to develop. Now, in India, because of the population, we move things very quickly. So the first skill that we need to adopt, that have patience. So things may take time, will take time, and they are definitely going to take time. But when the collaboration is going to be 100% from both ends, then it is going to be autopilot journey. So that's skill number one. Number two, apart from that personality development skills, be good at whatever that one thing that you're doing. I mean, as far as skills of Australians, they come to play. No different to what you heard about Canada, that it's more expensive to have a plumber than a teacher. So the teachers average salary would be anywhere between $35 to $75 per hour, and plumber salary start from $90 to $265 an hour. So that tells you that what kind of diversity. But on an appreciative point of view, what we are saying is be good at what you are, and you can demand, you can demand your value. To have certain skills, when you are doing business from cross borders, have good understanding of your distribution network, supply chain, have thorough knowledge of banking, like what's been basically discussed by one of the fellow delegates here as well. So I guess understand your numbers, understand your product, a little bit about your personality side of it, about your business, emotional intelligence, and rest will follow, because until you have right connection, the numbers not going to flow. Once you have numbers, you need to understand the banking instrument, banking channel that which bank is right for me, which bank is not right for me, how I can basically, which currency is correct for me, which currency is not correct for me, and all that. So look,
Wonderful.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mahima, same. I think if I'm not wrong, correct me, I think skill development is one of the reasons for the very active startup ecosystem. What is your view about skill development in Korea?
The point about the skill development in Korea is create consumer. Because we very much complained if we face some loan when we use some product or something else. So long time ago, when I worked with Samsung Electronic, they shared some story with me. If there is Korean consumer were not crazy like that, then there is nothing cannot higher like this standard. So, but in India, I could see on the road there is a 3 or 4 line on the way, but the car is not follow the rule. I think the same things happen for the brand or product as a consumer, Indian consumer. So it's genuine things. But the second thing is the reason from to bring the crazy consumer. Manufacturing company and some product bring to, they have to be and provide good training system for the each step for skill development at there. So also there are many good manual about that. And then also I think India can learn about that from Korea companies when do something joint venture and collaborate each other.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, so Shankho, what would you like to share on skill development part on Russia?
So skill development today, as everyone mentioned, I think it's a very important aspect in the Russian economy as well. So there are a lot of requirements there. But one funny thing which I see in India and when I go out is we have everything actually.
Right, correct.
Still we say that, we are developing. So you can't say that I still feel we are a very developed country in terms of skill workers, in terms of IPs, in terms of AI, in terms of, anything you ask me. Because here we have a balance, okay? Like in my building today, there was no electricity, but I have a balance. Somebody came and did the show for me. But in my cousin's apartment in London, there was a problem today. So my point here is that, we are in the right country at this moment and where development can go to the zenith of success. And like every other country with a lesser amount of population, I think in current market scenario, the skilled laborers, gap is being seen. I think that is something which is very much abundant in India. I think we are in abundance in all types of skills. So that is something which is going to help us and take us leap forward. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes. Sobha, same point. Yeah.
I'll keep it very brief. This is a topic and a question that is near and dear to my heart because it's my pet peeve when it comes to skill development. So my response is that first and foremost, we need to all acknowledge and appreciate how complex a country India is. It is probably one of the most complex countries and cultures. So I think the mistake we often make, including me, is when we say India or skill development in India, we think it's a common thing that we're talking about and everybody understands what we're talking about. No, that's not the case, right? Look at what we've done with ISRO. Look at what we've done with space and aeronautics and, all kinds of different sectors. One of the best in the world. And then every day we have buildings falling down and people getting hurt. So for me, I think when we talk about skill development in the Indian context, it needs to be understood from multiple perspectives. Number one, with all due respect, while colonizers might have come and gone, the impact of colonization is still very real and there in India. We still continue to educate the majority of students to follow and not to lead, to listen and not to challenge the teacher or the prof. We are still creating large numbers, millions of children, we are creating them and molding them to follow someone else's idea and instruction. Not to be the disruptor, not to be the entrepreneur, not to be the leader. That is highly problematic, and that needs to be changed, and the new education policy will contribute to that. The second one is that we have a complex culture where things like humility is revered. And often humility gets confused with a lack of confidence when they're completely different. You can be humble and be bloody confident. But
Correct.
if you don't teach that to a child at a young age, if teachers and professors don't role model that, children grow up believing, A, I need to be a follower, B, I need to be humble,
Right.
C, that means I don't have confidence to be the disruptor, the innovator, and the world leader that I'm more than capable of being. So when we say skill development in the Indian context, I think from the moment a child is born, we need to seriously, as families, as communities, as governments, as educators, rethink how we talk to the child and rethink what do we want to emphasize so that we continue to prosper and grow.
Now there is a lot of assembly to designing in one sentence.
In one sentence? I don't know. I think that if you mentioned that India is so complex, so in one
Yeah.
sentence, it's, maybe you should start thinking. That's good.
Three sentences in 1 minute.
No, it's. I think that the identification of the potential leaders, the creative, those, and most focus on SMEs because they are more agile and they are more adaptive to the changes. So this is the success of Poland, that we rely on the SMEs, not the big companies. So I think this is especially in this vast country with the completely federal structure. Second, first to try to deepen your internal market and to find the alliances. The right alliances are always good, and they help you to learn and to adapt and to integrate the solution that already were invented by others. Thank you.
Correct. Wonderful. Sure. From assembly to designing.
So I would say, I would actually conclude that in 5 words, probably. So that will be passion, innovation, persistence, right? And then final 2 words are Bharat Pratham.
Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, you see, so Mahima, a lot of speakers yesterday also and today also have been speaking about moving the, the supply chain of India, the manufacturing because there is a value add. If you look at Canada, if you look at Australia, even Poland, Russia, all of them, even Korea, all of them have moved to high value addition products where, the competition on the price front is secondary, and that the major factor leading to that is design, the design part of it. Like Sunil was also today talking about innovation, IPR and designing. So that's a little higher value chain in the, so how that, what would you say on that, assembly to designing?
Actually, I was thinking during they are answering about your question, but suddenly you quiet. I'm nervous now, but I will try to do my best. Actually,
see, I'll elaborate. So what's happening today is a lot of our manufacturing companies, we get design from abroad and we are supposed to manufacture it. And the labor arbitrage comes in, that because labor is cheap, but we need to do like, why we are not designing? How can we do the designing in our own country?
Yes, I understand. Actually, 15 years ago, when I went to MWC, it's Mobile World Congress in Spain, I could see some Chinese brand, Huawei and Xiaomi. And after I came back to Korea, I shared that my experience, May China will grow very fast with their own brand, which is great design.
Right.
But there is no Korean people who agree with my opinion. But now we could see that happens. And it takes 15 years old. And at that moment, my advisor, she learned his own fashion manufacturer company. And at that moment, she sold design for a fashion good to Chinese fashion manufacturer companies. And now she has to launch her own brand in India in China, because China never need like that way anymore, because they can design their by own. So I believe it needs some time to bring India to the that way you ask me.
Okay, thank you.
I'll keep it simple. I think we should teach 4 P's of marketing in school. So right from nursery to standard 12, these 4 P's of marketing, which Mr. Philip Kotler had written a long time back, although we never believed in it when we were a student.
Right.
But actually, practically, it's very, very important, to get the integration done, because if you're looking at assembling and designing, it is more to do with of course, price is very important, promotion is important, place is important, the product itself is very important. So all these 4 things coming with teamwork, coming with the right sort of culture, when we teach football to kids in school, I think we should put 4 P's of marketing also as one of the subjects. I think automatically people will stop looking at, getting designs from abroad and make everything in India.
Correct.
That's my
Thank
thought.
you. Yes. Absolutely. In fact, let me share with all of you, you may be perhaps surprised that in China, from class 5, there is a subject on innovation. And I think, so every year, class 6, class 7, there is an advanced subject on innovation. I think innovation is the starting point of designing, right? So that mindset, very rightly, all of you came out. Yeah, Sobhana.
My comments is, and my background is social work and psychology, so, I'm coming from it. 2 things. Maslow's theory, right? What have we learned from Maslow's theory? Generation after generation. If your basic needs are not taken care of, it is very difficult for you to move towards enlightenment. So until and unless any country in the world, has a situation where people's basic needs and poverty is addressed, it's very difficult for imagination, to sort of be the default thing. So I think as businesses, as leaders, as community champions, I think all of us, have a responsibility, moral and corporate, to address social inequities, gender inequities, so that people don't have to worry about the next meal. That's number 1. Number 2 is that where there is fear, there is no growth. Right? Mm-hmm. If you keep cutting a tree in your garden, there's no way it's going to grow and give you fruits or flowers. Right? And I think there has to be a fundamental shift in the way we parent our children, we teach our kids, and how we define success. And I think when that happens, then I think these ideas will take flight. And we should start celebrating failures. Look at the story of entrepreneurs and founders around the world. 9 ideas didn't work out. The 10th one was brilliant.
Correct.
We need to start telling the stories of founders and entrepreneurs who failed and fell and got up and succeeded, so that children have a different definition of success and have different role models. They must respect their parents and they must, respect cultures for sure. But I think we need to open up our minds and redefine and reimagine things in a big way for India to be where it can potentially be.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. In fact, friends, on a closing comment, I would like to share that on this same point, that as an SME entrepreneur, owner, we are spending a lot of our time on operations. We are working on day-to-day operations. And that is one reason why we are not able to innovate, because that innovation will come from entrepreneurs, particularly from small, medium enterprise owner. You will be surprised that companies like Microsoft and Apple and Amazon, everybody, none of these large companies innovate. A large company rarely can innovate because there is so much of hierarchy of decision making. Innovation always happens in a small company. And therefore, small, medium enterprise inherently have that ability to innovate. And that is where the design part comes in. So until and unless, as a small, medium enterprise owner, we delegate authority and keep ourselves free from operations, that stage of moving from assembly to design is a big challenge. And I always say is that, an entrepreneur's work is not to run the business. An entrepreneur's work is to grow the business. You can do either of the one. Either you can run it, it won't grow, or work on growing and somebody else has to run it. Right? So that's how all large companies of India have grown. Not a single large company of India started as a large company. All of them were small, medium enterprises. So this practice perhaps would lead to that. And the purpose of today's interaction with this esteemed panel was from each country's perspective to see what are the best practices. And of course, in India also we have so many best practices. And for centuries, not now. So one of the advantages of going global and taking your business to international markets is that we come to know the best practices of our product and industry in the world. And when we bring those best practices to India, our Indian business in India improves. So that is the purpose. And at the same time, of course, we have the best practices today. The cheapest satellite launch of the world happens from India, right? And you can name genetic engineering, nanotechnology, IT industry, of course, AI, space technology, defense. The recent Sindoor operation opened up so much of pride for the country in terms of, the kind of technology which was used. And so thank you very much to each of the panelists and thank you for listening. And I will lastly encourage all of you to interact with all of them, look up them in LinkedIn and connect to them and make sure that this interaction doesn't remain more of an academic purpose, but it leads to some kind of a business in each of these countries. All of them are networkers. They will connect you to the right people. So take advantage. Thank you very much, Laghu Udyog Bharati, for putting this together.